Welcome to the Go Guess Podcast, but we haven't quite decided yet, but we're going to keep doing it anyway. I'm Colby.
And I'm a cucumber on a slip and slide, but you can call me Fee.
What the fuck?
I was talking about it with my mom and sister because we went to Subway after our workout today.
Ooh,
and I was
nice.
like, what could my nickname be? And like I guess kind of like a child, but my mom was eating cucumber and she's like, oh, you could be a cucumber. I'm like, that's not funny by itself though, but I'll roll with it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna twist it. I'm gonna add some of the little Fee magic. I'm gonna sprinkle it on top, and then voila, cucumber on a slip and slide. Which sounds it sounds vaguely like if you looked it up on Pornhub, there would be 2 videos, and they've each got like 12 views.
Oh my god! And so when you say like cucumber on a slip and slide, you're like, well, is he like a sentient cucumber? Is he like Pickle Rick size? Mm-hmm. Or is he like his size? Or is it just someone just put a cucumber to like on the slip and slide to just fucking throw people off while they're sliding?
One of your friends goes down like at Schlitterbahn, they go down the slip and slide or whatever, and then you just like fucking chuck like a cucumber at him to see if you can catch him with a cucumber. Yeah. Oh
my god. So, okay, speaking of like water slide and slip and slide, so this is a little not safe for work, but I was on Twitter and there was, so I subscribe to a bunch of artists on Twitter.
Yeah,
one of them was like a porn artist, right? And they posted a comic, and it was of, I guess, this lifeguard who, at first you think it's a girl, but then she has like a huge like wiener, and so she's a lifeguard, and she's like, when no one's watching me, I'm gonna just pull off my pants and go behind the rocks by the slide, and just flash my wiener to the slider downers. And then she's like, okay, so I've already gone this far, so I'm gonna like whack it and just come on everyone that comes down the slide. Just
my god.
And like I guess it's sexy for like those people, but I was reading it just laughing. I was like, what the fuck?
Just imagining this, you're like, oh god, no.
Like you're having a good time, you're like, oh fuck yeah, and then like you like look off and then you just see like this tremendous wiener just shooting out at you, and you're like, oh. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah, there's no escape. You just keep going.
Now, like
I can imagine if she's like flashing and you're going down. As you're going down, you're like, what the fuck? And then she's like, no one will ever believe you.
Yeah, exactly. Like
you're like, damn, no one would believe me. Shit.
But like
did I imagine that?
So this is what I find funny about porn comics. Like, so if you read porn comics, they do a bunch of stuff like that seems taboo and like everyone would hate in real life. Mm-hmm. But then like they do it in comic and they're like, oh, this is sexy and hot. But you hear, and you if that happened in real life, if there was, I guess, a trans woman with a huge wiener just jerking off onto people on a slide, no one would like that.
Yeah, everybody would be like, what the fuck? Arrest this person, please. And she's like,
they're like, but
I didn't, you didn't like that? Or I'm confused. I saw it on the internet. I thought it'd be fine. Bye.
I thought it would be sexy. Like, was that not? Just like, no. Fucking,
man, I was reading
stuff like that.
I was reading a green text on 4chan to like a similar effect where this kid like spent too much time on the internet, and his older brother is telling this. He's like, my younger brother is like obsessed with hentai, and then our aunt came to live with us, and it's very clear that he like has a crush on our aunt, and he's like trying to like put the moves on her, and then one night like he walked into the living room where she was, and he was like, look, I got this boner, what are you gonna do about it? And she was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he clearly it didn't even pop into his head for a second that was gonna happen, because he was like, And so yeah, he got the internet taken away from him and grounded for a very long time, which I think is very funny.
But I've seen this work 100 times.
Yeah, come on. And he's like on his like secret like iPod Touch, like talking to his friends. My aunt's a fucking bitch.
God,
of course I'd get the prude aunt. Doesn't want to have sex with her nephew.
She must be a lesbian.
Yeah.
God damn. Like, stuff like that, like, scares me because, like, people are, like, doing stuff that you can't see, like, fucking the infamous Chills video, the Burger King foot lettuce. Fucking, I used to work in fast food. I can for sure, like, confess that, yeah, stuff like that does happen. And now that I'm not working in fast food, I'm always afraid that I'm like, oh man, someone like did some shit to this burger. And
yeah, that's man, that's the thing is like, especially because, you know, even if you think about it and you're like, okay, you know, these people are like cooking, like at places in which they're like cooking or preparing the food in front of me, I should be fine. But like, wasn't that video at Subway? And my man was like just standing on the lettuce in the back and then just like put the lettuce out. Like, what the fuck?
Oh my God. Speaking of, oh my God, I'm glad you brought that up. Or we brought this up because I wanted to talk about this on the show. I read about this in an article that popped up like 2 days ago. An Arby's manager, and I forget where, it's not here in Texas, it was out of state.
Oh, thank
An
God.
Arby's manager got arrested for pissing in the milkshake mix. and he was just like, it was for sexual gratification.
Oh, no.
He was
you
like,
don't say
I don't,
that.
And he was like, I don't think any of it got to any customers, but I don't, maybe. And then
like,
after investigating more, he got put further charges for having underage child porn on like his phone that he was using the Wi-Fi for to download.
God, of course.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like,
God.
why would
I
doing
was
something
listen,
illegal?
That's why I said, you know, I said like, yeah, you don't say that. Like, you don't be like, oh, I did it because I'm a sex pervert. You don't do that unless you're a really much bigger sex pervert and you're trying to throw the scent off. Like, he was like, oh shit, if they investigate me, they're gonna fucking find child porn. I better throw them off and say I'm just a little piss boy. Yeah, no, I piss in the milkshake machine because I love piss. That's it. Yeah. That's the only thing. And they're like, you scoundrel, gross. We are going to have to investigate you. And he's like, well, not my phone though, right? Because like, you know, it's about pee, not my phone. Like, I don't pee on my phone. And they're like, we do have to look at it. He's like, shit.
Yeah, because there might be videos of you like peeing and other things here at the Arby's, so we got to check.
He's like,
no,
but my phone doesn't even have a camera.
Dude, just take my word for it. There's no pee on this phone.
Yeah, listen, I swear. There's no pee on my phone at all.
Just stop. Just
stop. No, don't do it. In fact, okay, it's funny. It's funny you say like that because I don't know if you know this, but there was back in like 2017, there was a really big Bitcoin heist.
Oh no!
Huge Bitcoin heist, and like they tracked down like the wallet that had the Bitcoin that had been stolen. But they didn't know who it was connected to. And then these like two people, which are like very well connected, young socialites in New York City, they're like spending a bunch of money and stuff. And eventually, the cops like figure out that it's them. Like, okay, you're connected to this. You're getting the money from this and you're spending it. We are going to like come and arrest you. So like they get busted. They're in the feds are up inside of the are up inside of their apartment, and you know, they're raiding stuff. They're like grabbing hard drives and computers, and it's a couple. So like the woman is like, hey, my cat's kind of freaking out. Do you mind if I like pick her up and like just like kind of take her outside for a second? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so she like picks up her cat and she's like walking toward the door. and then she fucking lunges for her phone and starts like trying to frantically delete shit off of her phone. They're like, "What are you doing? Stop that!" Fucking take her phone. God.
Oh no, my cat did it.
It's all. Listen, the cat has some embarrassing pictures. I was just trying to save the cat some embarrassment.
Is this that couple on TikTok that got caught doing it? I believe.
Yeah. The
man and the woman.
Razzle Khan, is that her name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And like she was posting, and then like she got caught, and then posted like videos like after she got like arrested, and then she just stopped altogether because people were like, "Aren't you being investigated?"
Yeah. Yep,
yeah.
That is exactly what happened. It is her, and she's like a really, really bad rapper.
She was there in front of like the business building. I forget. Yeah, and everyone dunked on her.
She's got like so she's got problems. But among them, one of the my wife linked me this one because she'll start off and do like these TikToks and she'll do like short like Twitter videos and stuff. And one of them, she got on and it starts off with her going, AirPods, where the fuck are AirPods? No, but seriously, why does Apple make it to where I can't find my AirPods anywhere? Nothing ever works in my apartment. It's stupid. I spent a lot of money on these AirPods. Anyway, follow me later. This Razzle Khan out. It's like, ugh. Why are you this way? And the whole video was just bad from beginning to end.
Yeah. I believe in one of like her music videos she's like, I fuck like a gator or something. So something like that, like I have sex like a gator. Fucking eating now and laters. I don't know. I just something like that.
Hell yeah.
So like the cops break into her house and they're like, where's all the money? And she's like, why are you doing this? There's no money here. And then fucking like a boss, the cop is like Bane and is like, then what are you doing here? Fucking
yeah.
When he breaks into the fucking stock market.
Mm-hmm.
Which also didn't make sense in that movie because he fucking broke in, took Bruce Wayne's stocks, and then made a bunch of fraudulent charges. And then Bruce Wayne's like, hey, they took all my stuff and made all these charges. This wasn't me. And then they were just like, nah, fuck you. That was you.
They're like, we don't believe you. You're Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. And then he's broken and gets his electricity turned off.
Hey, what have you ever done for us, Bruce Wayne? Bruce Wayne's like, oh shit, you're right.
It's like,
you're right.
I guess I could have donated more.
Yeah, I'm okay. So I'm looking at the I'm looking at some of the articles about it. So yeah, it was her. Her name is Heather Morgan, but she also goes by Razzle Khan. And her husband, Ilya Dutch Lichtenstein, which is a fucking sick name. So like it's very sad.
Sounds like an internet persona.
She, she's got like, in a series of cringy videos posted to YouTube, the wannabe performer can be seen walking around Wall Street while reciting lyrics such as, I'm many things, a rapper, an economist, a journalist, a writer, a CEO, and a dirty, 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 dirty hoe. Fucking good for you, Heather Morgan. Your shit sucks, but like...
It sucks, but I guess you're owning it, right?
Yeah, she's going for it.
If you're gonna suck hard, I guess you own it, makes it a little better.
Yeah, honestly, fine.
So speaking of cringe fest, you saw the She-Hulk trailer.
I did, boy. Listen, okay, so this trailer just came out, and like I don't know when it stopped being like a big momentous thing, like whenever a Marvel trailer came out, but that happened, I guess, recently, because
I think when they started coming out,
anyone talking about this being released. I didn't hear anyone talking about it after it was released. I was like, Is this an old trailer? Like, this must be new. And sure enough, like, it was just posted like today or yesterday, and I was like, why isn't anyone talking about this?
Are you kidding me? Like, my YouTube, all the people I follow, there's at least 5 or 6 of them that are dunking on it.
Oh yeah, but those are opportunistic little shitheads. I'm talking about like actual like fans and humans that exist and like Marvel stuff.
We're talking about it.
Yeah, we're talking about it because we have a podcast.
We're doing a show? I just thought we were talking.
This is recorded?
I have to go through a lot of steps for me to not know it's not recorded, but
I told you the story about the comic about the woman who was masturbating on a slide in confidence.
I didn't want anyone to know. Oh, now I'm embarrassed.
Oh, jeez. Can we just edit that out?
Computer, delete. Just I don't know. I'm some old lady.
Computer, erase. Man.
So the trailer came out, and before we get into the bad, because it's a big fucking Shrek bad. I think it's funny. I think the actress is good. They changed her origin a little bit. She looks good being the lawyer. I like that she's like promiscuous, like in the comics. They didn't make her like big and bulky, which I was afraid of. Because She-Hulk for like since the 70s has been this like fucking knockout that's just funny and like sarcastic and can kick your ass.
Yeah.
But, and there's a big but, she is she's the CGI used to make her She-Hulk looks awful. It's just bad.
It does. I mean, and it's so unfortunate because like it really shows you a couple of things. One, it shows off because there's a very easy comparison here, right? Like She-Hulk and then Hulk, right? Like they've been doing Hulk for a really long time. What about his CGI? His CGI has been mostly good. There's been obviously bad parts here and there, but like for the most part, I would say Hulk is good. And the reason why Hulk is usually good is because his face is simple. And they usually don't zoom in on his big dumb head. Like the Hulk is huge. He's a big, huge man. And so like his dumb face doesn't need to be like a part of it usually. Whereas She-Hulk is like smaller. And she's got a more detailed face. She has like a more human looking head because she's not as big as Hulk, right? And she's got like hair that looks awesome. But like you've got all of these elements like acting together. And so like every frame, if you're not like meticulously going over it, you're like, oh, well, this is off by a few pixels. And like it just takes one frame for you to be like, oh, that's bad. CGI is bad. Never mind. Throw it away.
It's just she looks good when you just see a still photo, but then when you see her in movement, you're like, oh no.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, it's inconsistent too, because like, because there are some scenes in this trailer where you're like, oh yeah, that CGI looks really good, and then there's other times where you go, oh no, oh no, they screwed this part. No, what happened?
It's usually like when she's moving slow, like she like in the when she's like talking or just kind of just moving in her like while sitting, but when she's doing action, it's fine. And they did a lot of cool things too. Like with the Abomination, they made him look more like the comics. And then they added... I don't know who the secondary villains are, but some in the trailer, you see like a guy in a green costume fighting, and then in one of the like split seconds, you see some woman, I don't know who it is, break through like the courtroom wall. And then, it ends off with her going on a Tinder date as She-Hulk, and then I guess gonna take this big buff man to the bedroom and break his pelvis.
Hell yes. Which like I'm so glad that they like left that in, because like it's like her talking to this Tinder date, and this Tinder date being like, Yeah, you know, I was thinking maybe we could get out of here. She's like, fuck yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Like, you could just tell she's like, I'm going to grind you into dust, little man.
Yeah, he's like, you want to split some fries? And she's like, I want to split those thighs.
Yeah.
Well, see, because like in the comics, so you can look this up. She's had sex with Hercules, with the Juggernaut, and like with several like powerful like big guys. And I think that's different. I don't know like if this is like sexist or anything, but I guess when she's like She-Hulk, I guess she gets like a harder sex drive or something. I'm not too sure about it, but like she's very sensual and like she owns it. Which is sick.
Yeah. Which is it's awesome. There's just a couple of things in this trailer that like, again, you know, overall you take a look at like the character and it seems like her origin is basically they want to have like a superhero lawyer. They want to like establish precedent for like superheroes and like lawyers and stuff. So they're like, we should have a superhero lawyer. And I guess
Daredevil like, was like on vacation.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, well, he's also not out. So they're like, let's just fucking let's make you a superhero. I guess that's what the trailer like wants you to think.
That's what it alluded to. Whereas in the comics, she needed a blood transfusion, and Bruce Banner, being her cousin, gave it to her.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess this is more of a comedy. I'm not sure. It looks like a comedy. And I'm down with that, because, like, you can't have a She-Hulk where she's, like, breaking through the city and beating up, like, bad... Like, her comics are about her being a superhero lawyer and fighting on the side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what the comic is.
Yeah, I think that's fucking cool, too, to be like, oh, yeah, she's got, like, super strength and she's, like, really big... But she's a lawyer. Like, she's a lawyer first and then does other shit second, which is awesome. I like that. But yeah, I'm looking at this trailer and there's just a bunch of stuff in it where it's like, oh, this sequence was really good. This sequence was not so good. And it's like, oh yeah, there you go. That's the one that, okay, I found the part that really made me be like, oh, this is not great. And it is the Tinder date section. So like,
when you can see her reflection, or
no, it's like the date is like, oh, this is the best date I've had in a while, and she like sits up and is like, oh, and her face is like still. There's no movement to her face as she's sitting up, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't look right.
Yeah. Like, okay, so I'm watching the trailer too now, and like you're right. There's not big of like fanfare for these anymore. I think because like all these shows came out too close together, and at least half of them were bad.
Mm-hmm. So like for the Marvel shows, Loki's great. I really loved WandaVision. WandaVision's very divisive, I guess.
Divisive.
But yeah, Winter Soldier and his big friend, I didn't have any interest in. No one likes Hawkeye. This is going to be interesting. Moon Knight was great. This is going to be interesting because I'm like, I'm going to watch it. I'm committing now to watching it. And and What If? I completely forgot. I haven't seen What If,
dude,
but the
What
things
If
that I've
so
seen
good.
from it, yeah, it seems awesome, actually.
Yeah, I saw the whole thing, and I gotta tell you, like, it's so much better than I thought it was gonna be. And so like everyone was just like, oh, I can't watch it because they made the Watcher black, and I'm like, who cares?
Yeah, who gives a shit?
There's a bunch of them. Why can't one just be black? I mean, it doesn't even matter to the story. They're like a being in the fucking fifth dimension. Like, it's not even a big deal.
Yeah, it's the least big deal of all time.
And I gotta tell you, the show's good, but my least favorite What If on that show is what if Black Panther, fucking Ibambe himself, what's his name, became Star-Lord. What if he got brought up to space on accident instead of Peter Quill? And I did not like that one because Basically, he's just better. He's all around better. Everyone is his friend. Thanos decided he wasn't I'm sorry for the spoilers, Colby.
Yeah, no.
Thanos decided, well, I'm not gonna take over the world. You changed my ways, and now I'm on the Ravengers with you, and everyone loves him, and no one hates him.
Hell yeah.
And everyone's like his fanboy. It's just, I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, that's lame. To me, it's lame. Sorry, Black Panther stands. But Black Panther's not that cool to begin with.
Yeah, listen. The thing is, that whole premise doesn't make a lot of sense to me anyway. Because T'Challa, like, he's a great leader.
Yeah.
He's affable. People like him. But I would say that, like, you know, without the powers of the Black Panther, which if he got abducted as a child, he wouldn't have. I mean, it's just another guy in that same situation. Peter Quill is really funny. I have a lot of trouble believing that, like, this abducted Terran that just happens to be, like, I don't know, more of a leader, I guess, is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and change Thanos' mind.
He was abducted as a child, like, the same age as, like, Peter Quill was when he was abducted. Like, how drastic does that change the timeline that now, because he got abducted, everyone in the galaxy is just nice with each other, and he changes people's minds, and everything goes his way, and he's got fanboys, like, they recreate the beginning of Guardian of the Galaxy 1, when they catch him picking up the stone, and the guy's like, I'm Star-Lord. He's like, who? But that scene plays out like, he's like, you might know me by another name. And the guy's like, Star-Lord! Oh my god! Oh, can I quit my job and become a Ravenger? And then it's annoying because he fanboys about it the whole episode and becomes a Ravenger. And it's basically sucking fucking Chad Boswick's dick.
Hell yeah, why not?
Yeah, like I said, that's the weakest episode because I'm like, that's not. It's kind of funny, but it's not. It's lame, is what it is.
Yeah, lame is definitely probably a good descriptor for it, because, like, there are, you know, I don't know. I really like alternative takes on, like, an existing story. So, like,
oh, me too.
What If is, like, way up my alley, but it's a IMO. It's a leap too far to be like, let's take one main character from one thing and then put him in as the main character of another thing. Wow, now everyone loves him. Like, I don't know. That just sort of, like, I feel like the reason why someone is a main character in a story is because of, like, a series of coincidences that happen to him, and then, like, he becomes who he's meant to be. And then if you take away those things and put him into another situation, you're telling me that, like, that this man, without, like, you know, without all of the stuff that happens to the Black Panther and, like, all of that, without that, he's still, like, what, he's an even cooler fucking guy?
Yeah.
I don't buy that for a second.
And then they show that Peter Quill's working at Dairy Queen as an
adult.
Oh
no.
They completely dunked on him. I don't know why they fucking dunked on him so bad.
Why you gotta dunk on my boy?
Like, you like to see Peter Quill as Star-Lord because, not because, like, he's bumbling, but like, he's a good leader when it comes to it, but also, like, he's very sarcastic and he's likable, but then you hate him at the same time because he's such a fucking idiot. And
yeah, like, he's an everyman that just, like, is his main superpower is wisecracking and getting lucky. Like, that's the charm of Peter Quill is that at any moment he could say some shit or do something really dumb and die. Like, I fully believe every time that Peter does something wild, like, on screen, I'm like, this could fucking be it. Like, he could just be toast.
Yeah, it's what makes the show bad is having, I guess he would be a Mary Sue because everyone likes him and he's just better than everybody. He's just
better than you.
Yeah, I'm just fucking better. It's just, I don't know.
Who are you? I'm you, but better.
But the first episode of What If is the Captain America one where what's her name got the super soldier serum, Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
And
Carter,
that was good, but everyone was very horny for big, thick Peggy Carter.
Of course, obviously, who wouldn't be is the thing.
So, like, I have a lot of types. Like, yeah, I've talked about them before, but big, big, muscly, thick women are like in my top 5, maybe top 3.
Of course,
because who doesn't like a big, muscly woman to, just pick them up and take them on the bed and be like, it's my time to, shine. And I'm just like, oh,
it's my time to shine.
I don't know. I've never been with a big body, like a big muscle. I'm not talking about,
and you're just imagining they're going to lift you up and be like, it's my time to shine. This is my moment. Shut the fuck up.
And I'm not talking about like bodybuilders because like, no offense to like bodybuilder women like that are like go to shows and get all tanned and gross. I just their skin looks gross and their muscles look gross when they're all tanned and stuff like that. I'm just talking about like big, tall, buff women like Peggy Carter became, or that girl from Dodo Hedodo. That big buff girl in a suit. I think she has white hair.
No, I got you.
Actually, all the like women on that show are big, tall, and buff. So I'm like really down with that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, anybody who says that they're not is a fool. I will die with that opinion.
Why wouldn't I want my woman to be big and strong and protect me when someone talks shit about me? Fucking, we're walking down the street and some guy's like, nice shirt, dumb shit. And then like I'm like, oh, but then she like fucking jumps into action, beats the shit out of him. I don't know.
She he punches him and his head falls off.
Fucking hits him and it does like a Mortal Kombat X-ray and breaks all of his ribs. Just fucking... And she's like, what did you say about my man? I'm down with that, but What If is good besides the Black Panther episode, which is completely just bleh.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, the Marvel TV shows, it seems like they've put a lot of care and a lot of thought into them. But you can also tell that, like, the budget is smaller. And that they're trying to take like the Marvel movie formula and apply it to a show. So in some cases, like Moon Knight does a really good job of like letting characters breathe and letting you like really get to know like Mark and Steven and like getting to know that story. And it's great. Like you couldn't do Moon Knight as a movie. You just couldn't.
Yeah. Maybe a two-parter. I don't know.
Could be a two-parter. Sure. WandaVision, also really good. Plays with the format, does like, it does a bunch of like really interesting things. Loki also, a story that's like very big and very difficult to tell in a movie. So it makes sense that it's a series.
Yeah. You like seeing Loki going from like a snarky fucking smart ass little shit to continue to be that, but just be like, oh, I was an asshole, but now I'm kind of a good asshole.
Yeah, I mean, and the coolest thing about Loki is like, have you seen Loki yet?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, great. So yeah, at the end, spoilers. At the end, whenever Loki is the one talking sense into the other one,
oh yeah,
you're like, oh, he's really actually a good guy. Like he's actually trying to do the right thing here, and he's looking at what's effectively the trolley car situation, right? It's like, pull this switch and 40 people die. Pull this other switch and 3 people die. And he's like, well, the evil that we know may be better than the evil that we don't know. And who knows what's going to happen if this goes through or whatever. Maybe we shouldn't do this. And it's like, that's the safe choice. Yeah. That's the least Loki decision anyone has ever made. And he went for it. And you're like, wow, this is like actual character development. And like, I believe it because of this whole series.
Yeah, because he fell in love with Owen Wilson.
That's right. He fell in love with Owen Wilson like we all did.
Of course.
In every movie Owen Wilson is in, everyone falls in love with him.
He hasn't been in a lot of movies. He's been in a lot, but like, I'm trying to think. I can only think of like 5, maybe.
He's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
A lot. Wedding Crashers.
You, Me, and Dupree.
Yep. Starsky and Hutch.
Drillbit Taylor.
The Royal Tenenbaums.
The fuck is that?
The Royal Tenenbaums? It's a fucking Wes Anderson movie. He's in most Wes Anderson movies.
Sorry, the cat crawled up my leg. And bitch, get over there! God,
get over there, cat!
Who said you can come in? Fucking, God damn it, all the time. Yeah, we got a kitten in the house, and she likes to crawl up people's legs or just bite them when their hands are just by their side or on the fucking table. She's like, oh, fucking fresh fingy, it's mine.
Don't mind if I do. Zoolander.
Zoolander and part 2, and no one likes part 2. Part
and
2 is awful.
Cars.
Oh yeah, and Cars. Ah! God damn it!
This cat is fucking going for you.
Oh,
get him!
God.
Get him, cat!
Stop! Don't encourage her. Fuck! Oh, dude, she didn't even get my leg. She just jumped onto my side. Oh. Wow, what a bitch.
This fucking asshole.
I told you heard me. I told her no.
You did. You did say that. He's great. The one thing that I think a lot about though is he's an everyman. Failed. Do what?
I said he always plays just like himself and like everyday Joe.
Basically.
He failed.
He failed at committing suicide.
What?
In the late 2000s, I think. Owen Wilson suicide attempt. Yeah, 2007 is
is he making movies with that?
He was, yeah. Let's see, 2007. What was he doing around that time? 2007. But he was in Night at the Museum in 2006.
Oh yeah.
And he was in Marley and Me and Drillbit Taylor the next year.
Well, why would he commit suicide? He just like trying to Kurt Cobain himself, couldn't handle the fucking fame.
The thing is, like, he's like, I haven't read anything about it. I just know that he did, but like, you can't predict that. That's the same thing as like, I don't understand why somebody would commit suicide when they're so rich and famous. And it's like, well, depression doesn't really care if you're rich and famous. Depression is just like, take a look at... You can't help how you feel, and like, you are really convinced. You are truly convinced that not only would your life be better if it had stopped, but also everyone else's around you's life would be better if your life stopped.
I mean, raise your hand if that's like, if you've ever thought about that, because like, I think everyone has.
Yeah, but this, like, you know, having like suicidal tendencies and like, and that kind of depression makes that your thought. That is your thought. That is the thought that goes through your head all the time. Which is why, actually, fun fact and friendly PSA from this show to everyone: if you have a friend that has been suicidal or has been having a bunch of depression lately, and then very, very suddenly they seem to be very happy and feel like very good and they're having a really good time, reach out to them and keep a very close eye on them, because what that signals sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, is that they have decided that they are going to commit suicide, and the feeling of like deciding that you're going to do it and taking control of your life, like is sort of the way that you view it, feels so good. That you're like, oh God, well, it doesn't really matter. Like, things are great. I'm having a good time. I'm going to eat some good sushi. If they like start buying like they start buying like, you know, more expensive stuff. They eat out at good restaurants and stuff. Like, these are things to be concerned about and like reach out to them. 'Cause like, yeah, depression and suicidal thoughts are like really insidious in that it's a nagging thought that's constantly there, which I can relate to. I like I get that way about problems. My dad and I both did. So like for me, I if I'm experiencing a problem with like a project that I'm working on, I had a problem on Friday night, right? I woke up Saturday morning and I did nothing but think about how I could try and work on this problem all day Saturday. So, like, while the baby was asleep, I was on my computer working on this problem. As soon as the baby went to bed, I worked on this problem. I did my stream. I worked on it after that. I worked on it on Sunday. Like, I was obsessed with it. My dad was the same way. My mom said that he would, if he's like putting together a deal, and he's like doing a bunch of research and he's not having a good time, he's not making a lot of headway, he would go to bed, and then at like, midnight or whatever, if my mom was still awake, he would get up and just go to the office. Like, he wouldn't even get dressed. He would just go to the office, and she would find him in there sometimes, 1, 2 in the morning, just working on stuff. And he's like, well, I had an idea about something that I had to check. So I'm in here, and he's like got his colored pencils and he's doing his seismograph stuff. So like, I get that. It's like that, but it's just this constant, like, the problem is that you are alive. How are we going to solve it? And then once you decide I'm going to solve it, your whole demeanor changes. And so like keep an eye on it and being like, hey, we should really make sure that like, our friends are doing okay, is like,
oh yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
You're a man possessed.
Correct.
Because I have those thoughts of, man, I got to do this, but then like, boy, does pressure get me, and I'm just like, but I shouldn't. I'm always telling you, I'm like, I could, but I'm probably just gonna muck it up and I'm gonna fail. But then, I'll do the thing I said I was gonna do, and it comes out all right, and I'm like, yeah, but I suck still.
Yeah, but it's the worst.
I like constantly do that, like all the time, like you even know. Like even just recently with the TikTok, I with the first one I put out, I was happy I did it, but I was like so upset that it sounded shitty, and I was like, here it is. I'm like, it's shitty. It's cool though. I'll learn, and I did. The second one I put out sounded and looked a lot better.
Hell yeah.
But I'm still like in my head about stuff like that.
Well, and that like, this actually leads into the next topic that I wanted to talk about, because like no one is immune from that. So I brought up to Fee that another streamer that I like was doing a subathon, and Fee didn't know what a subathon was. So
yeah,
I'm going to tell you what a subathon is, and I'll tell you about like why they're sort of interesting and how they relate to this. So a subathon is basically, if you're a Twitch streamer or YouTube, there was basically there's a thing where you say like, I'm going to do like a 24-hour stream, right?
Yeah.
But you say, I'm going to do an 8-hour stream, and then for every like sub or every donation I get, you'll add like a minute to the timer, like, or 5 more minutes to my stream timer.
Yeah.
And then you do that, and you're like, well, we'll max out at 24, and then I'll go to bed. Well, a couple years ago, a man named Ludwig, who is now on YouTube, became very famous for doing an uncapped subathon.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, and the thing is, like, Ludwig was so popular that, like, he had a lot of people coming into his chat to do it. And the thing is, because of the way that Twitch is, your subs fall off after a time, right? So you get like a cliff, and then like you'll lose a bunch of subscribers. And so Ludwig's subathon lasted for 31 days.
Good Lord.
So he was live streaming for 31 days. I mean, he slept on stream. He would like go to so like typically what you do at night, the sort of strat now is that you'll put on your own YouTube videos, like a playlist of like past like VODs or YouTube videos or whatever, and you'll have a playlist that goes on while you sleep. And then the chat will like, you get a chance to do that. So that's like you're sleeping on stream, you're ordering food in and eating on stream, you're, going to the bathroom and not pausing your stream. It's like a bunch of stuff like that. And recently another YouTuber or another Twitch streamer got really, really far up the ranks. Her name is Iron Mouse, and she's a VTuber, and she did a subathon that lasted, I think, 30 days.
Jesus.
So yeah, very close. Another person that I watch named Connor, he did a subathon for 5 days, because he's like, I'm going to do a capped subathon, but it's going to be for 5 days.
Yeah.
Basically he has to like fly. And so he's like, I'm leaving the country, so I have to stop. But, so yeah, it's like, even after the subathon happened, right? Like Iron Mouse is now officially the biggest current streamer on Twitch. At that time, she had the most subs. She had like, I don't know how much. I don't know how many she made.
Yeah.
Let's see. She became the third all time in subscriber count. So she was up over 200,000 subs.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, it was 25 days. And she got way, way up there. Every $5 donation, every $5 donation added only 15 seconds to the clock too.
Oh shit.
So that means that like every minute that she was streaming, someone paid, what, $20 for that? $20 a minute is how much she was making.
Damn.
Minimum. Right. And so that's like, you add the subs into that. She made a lot of money doing it. And still at the end of it, she's like, I'm still very surprised that people would like, would subscribe to me. I'm surprised that you all spent so much money on this. It's crazy that this lasted this long. She got invited to an anime convention a couple of weeks ago and did like, a virtual like panel at this convention. And she's like, I'm surprised a bunch of people went to my panel. And it's like, bitch, you're number 3 on fucking Twitter, like, or on Twitch. Like, why are you surprised?
Because
it's just
I guess if you're not used to being like popular and liked, it's always just, if you go to a thing like that, it just, you never realize how many people like you on stream, and then you see it in person and you're like, wow, these people actually like me. Like, I think I'd be the same way. Like, if this podcast got off the ground and we got invited somewhere, I'd be like, why are all these people here to watch me and you just talk and say stupid shit? I'm like, I wasn't this popular in school. Like, and now there's like, I don't know what the max capacity for a room, 300 people here, and people fighting outside to get in that want to hear me. Like, you're not used to it. Like, people that are like her, since she is not disabled, or I guess disabled, or has that disease where she is bedridden.
Yep.
You're not used to like an ovation of a group of people that want to see or talk to you.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's totally correct. I think that's and it's not just like, it doesn't just have to deal with you being like, disabled or whatever.
It's
also,
no, but like the content she produces.
But I mean, like having
a fan base.
Like having fans and having past experiences in which, maybe your existence isn't validated, or maybe like, you're trying to do something interesting or fun and it's not working out. Like,
yeah,
those experiences sort of inform how you think about yourself. And so you're very skeptical about those things. And that's sort of how depression works, is by, It sort
Yeah.
of preys on those negative experiences and makes them seem like they're your only experiences, or that they're like the really important ones, and that you can't get away from like how you feel about them, or how how they're affecting you.
Exactly. Like, I'm not used to having fans. Like, I'm afraid to put out content just for that
Mm-hmm.
fact alone. I'm like, I'm gonna do my best and produce content that I like or I think is great, and then no one's gonna watch it like I think no one is. And this is just
Mm-hmm.
in my head. I'm not saying that's gonna happen. I'm like, and that just validates my claims that I'm not good enough. Even though,
Yeah.
like, there's some people that are like, no, we love you and everything you do, and everything whatever content you put out, but you don't want to hear it because you're like, oh well, I'm not I'm not doing well enough. Like, say you get like a small group, like say we get popular and like 20 people are like chat
Mm-hmm.
back to us, and you're like, well, I was hoping for at least 100, so like it validates the claim. Like, you're
Yep.
like, I'm not good enough for 100. Why would you know why did I think I'd be good enough to do this?
Yeah. And I mean, it just it keeps going from there. Like, it's almost like I don't know if you've heard this, but like your this happens with houses. This happens with like money. Your lifestyle expands to fit like your budget, to fit your house, to fit your whatever. Um, and it feels like it's never enough. And it's the same thing with like validation of the things that you do. So if you're like, oh, I hit affiliate on Twitch, great. Well, I still don't have an average of five viewers. I'm
Yeah,
never going to make partner.
the story of
And
my
then a year
life.
from now, you got like, you just hit partner. You're like, oh my god, I hit partner. This is amazing. Well, I'm never going to have 200 subs like this person does.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
there's always like another thing.
that's also another like fear of mine. I'm putting out content. I'm in a room in like a house that doesn't look fancy. I'm making content, and I
Hmm.
start to like say monetize, and then I get myself we get a new house or a new apartment or whatever, and everything looks nicer. I got better equipment, and then you're gonna hear those people that are like, oh, I liked him when he was more fucking grounded, and like when he was like on a shitty web camera with bad quality, he was so much better. Now look at him, fucking rubbing elbows with fucking Mr. Monopoly. Like, but there's always people that do that no matter what.
Yep.
They hate to see someone like get better, but then you have those people who are like, yo, we're proud of you or whatever, but then they're always a small fucking minority, and
Hmm.
they're the ones that you see no matter how many people you have giving you positive feedback.
Yeah. In fact, who was it? It was William Osman had to stop YouTube for a while. He's a science and technology YouTuber. He produces like really goofy technology videos. He has done like the egg drop experiment with a bunch of different YouTubers. He's really good, but he had to stop because he made his own X-ray, right?
Uh-huh.
The video idea is like, I went to the hospital and they wanted to charge $13,000 for this X-ray, so I decided to make my own, and I made my own in my garage very unsafely for $4,000, and it's just like a funny thing. Well, then there's a bunch of people in the video comments that were like, "Oh, you didn't do this right, and this actually isn't this, and this piece of technology isn't that," and he like had a follow-up video where he's like, okay, these people are stupid and here's why, and then he picked one at random and was like, I'm going to try to talk to this guy on the phone because he doesn't know what he's talking about for sure. And like, he's talking to this guy and then he's like trying to actually like have a conversation with him. And like, it's very clear that he's frustrated by these comments.
Yeah.
After that, he put out a video that was like, okay, like I think I'm kind of done with YouTube for a while because this is like, I'm having not a good time producing videos. And
Yeah.
in every video, I get a bunch of hateful comments that, like, number one, people correcting me on things that like I've done in my video whenever they're stupid and don't know that they're wrong. But also, so he was renting a house like 5 years ago or whatever, and his house burnt down. which meant, you know, it wasn't his house. He didn't own the house, but all of his stuff was in the house. So it's gone.
Yeah.
And so like all of his stuff is gone. And then he, you know, he tells the internet, they have a GoFundMe. And then people, in every video after that, you know, if he's like, oh, I did this, I did this, I'm doing this egg drop thing or whatever. They're like, wow, good use of that GoFundMe money. And he's like, damn, dude, his fucking house burnt down.
Yeah, he's like,
and you're just coming at him with like, wow, that GoFundMe money is really going to good use.
Like, but I got my house now.
Yeah, he was living in a motorhome for a long time. Like, my man was like, you know, he's doing okay, but like, Jesus, it's such a shitty thing to be like, fucking good use of them money.
I know. That's what's honestly keeping me from like making content. Even though like you and like a lot of our friends are be like, oh, Fee, you should do it. You'll be good at doing that. I'm like, I could. I'm like, I really could, but I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is you're like, I have said it before and I will say it again until the day that I die. I believe that you were one of the funniest people I've ever met ever. And it's just, so to me, for a long time, advertising was like, wow, this is really shitty and invasive. And I hate the fact that I have to watch these ads. But if you're producing a product, the job of an advertisement is not to get you to like a product. The job is for you to try a product. And then if you like it, you continue to buy that product. And I feel like that's basically the thing as far as like you and producing content goes, is like, you know, you're currently a small streamer. You're currently like a small creator because people haven't found you yet. And because like the lens through which people can view you is not the best lens that it can be. Like,
no,
if,
I know.
You know, if your video quality is better, if your mic quality is better, if like, you know, if you can get your ideas out and you can be like who you are, but in like a sort of more distilled and like easier to ingest form, people are going to go ape shit and they're going to continue to buy whatever thing you put out because you're one of those people that's really easy to watch. And that's why like a lot of these streamers get like a bunch of like subscribers and stuff too. Like any good successful variety streamer, it's because their personality is good. You know, price of admission often is like demonstrating expertise. Like, oh, I'm very good at Jump King, but like people stay because you're funny and interesting to watch.
I don't claim to be good at anything.
yeah. That is one of those things where you're like, because I talked with the person that works at YouTube and or I guess works at Google and knows people that work for YouTube, and some of the research they put out has said like if you can demonstrating that you are an expert at something is actually better than being entertaining. And it's that way for like a lot of different things. So if you show up, and this is easy to see with like some of the top streamers, right? You have like Shroud, Dr. Disrespect, Ninja. These people are like extremely good at the games that they play. And you watch them because you're like, oh, this guy got this fucking sick headshot. But like you stick around because they're entertaining to listen to. And it's almost more important to be very good at something. However,
I just get lucky at games.
Yeah. However, there's other things like that where you're like, you produce these really cool moments or like really interesting stuff that happens. And you don't have to be good at a game. You just have to be entertaining enough and then people will stick around. Like it's, I don't know. Like, it's interesting.
For example, the other night when I was playing Fortnite, when it was down to me and one other person and I'm scrambling to stay like alive. And then at the last moment, like I'm on a mountain and then like he's way down below. I'm like, I'm going to slide down this mountain and I'm going to find him. But stupid me, I'm always pressing the fucking wrong button. I jump down and I'm like, oh, I'm dead. I'm like, oh well. Somehow I land in a puddle of water and continue to live. And that like boosts adrenaline in me. I'm like, oh, I'm alive. And then I fucking find the guy and end up winning on just a fluke just like a wind. It's fucking good. And I was super stoked for that.
Hell yeah.
But no one but you saw that, so that's the thing. Y'all are always telling me I'm funny and I could do it, but like I don't see it. I don't see how I'm funny. I'm just genuinely acting. I'm not trying to be. I'm genuinely just being my normal self, and y'all find it hilarious. Not in a mean way. Y'all don't keep me around for the spectacle.
That's true. Although sometimes, yeah, no, that's true. And the thing is, like, you know, your expertise, like, you know, your niche could be anything. Like people that I watch on YouTube vary to like very, really boring professions. Like, I can't tell you how many fucking drains and culverts I've seen unclogged in the past few years. It's just because that content's interesting. And like, I'm going through my YouTube recommendations. I have one that's like, I cleaned this very dirty rug. That's the whole video, is he's got this really dirty rug and then he cleans it.
Yeah, but like, that's more of like satisfying. Like some people just like to see that. Just like, what's his name? Who's it, Merle or Mike, who Dirty Jobs?
Oh, yeah, Mike Rowe.
Yeah, Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs. You just, sometimes he goes and does, like, interesting jobs, and you, like, he really gets into fucking nitty-gritty, and you see how it's done, but, like, he's entertaining because Mike Rowe's, like, fucking a good entertainer. But also, like, there's Dirty Jobs or how it's made that people are just like, oh, that's fascinating. So it's in a factory on a machine, and this is how it's separated, and that's cool. Like, people like to see that sort of stuff. Fucking even Dave Attell, Late Night with Dave Attell, when he would just be in a city and just fuck around.
Insomniac.
Yeah, Insomniac, where he would just get fucking drunk, and then sometimes he would just go to like this factory or these fucking exterminators and be like, I'm gonna work with y'all for like an hour, and then they'd leave him on the side of the road, and he's like, well, next time to the next place. And it's just it's fun to watch.
My dad wanted to do something like that. Like, whenever he first moved here, he was like, you know what you should do, and I think this would be a great idea, we should put this together. And like, neither of us knew what the fuck we were doing, so he was like, I want to put together a coffee table book. We could do the first one for Austin, but then we could do it for every major city. And I want it to be something like working the night shift. And we'll just go around to these people that keep the infrastructure running and, like, you know, working the water treatment plants. And, and, you know, working at, like, the all-night diners and, you know, the 24-hour Whataburgers. We'll go and talk to those people and talk about what it's like to like work at night and the crazy stuff they've seen.
Take some
pictures of them, put out a coffee table book.
Get the raw fucking nitty gritty. You'd be like, look, you don't have to hold back. Tell me what you really think.
Yeah, this isn't a coffee table book.
Oh
I don't
my
give a fuck.
Dude, no shit. Your dad, his fucking personality, I would love to fucking read that. Your dad is a character, dude. I love that. Like, I want to do that now.
It sounds cool.
No shit. If he did do that, I couldn't read the book in any other voice but your dad's voice.
Yeah.
Went to the Whataburger and we talked to these coworkers. They said they hate their job.
They make meteor burgers.
Come over to the fucking Taft circa 2005. Fucking God damn.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite scenes from Insomniac was he went to like a cleanup place, and specifically it was a crime scene cleanup business. Like,
hell yeah,
they would just go to like, you know, crime scenes where like someone had died in a hotel room and they've got to like wash the blood out of the carpet and like dispose of the mattress and like basically clean up evidence of a crime after, you know, the police are done with it. Like that's a
Yeah.
whole industry, and they usually do it at night.
I mean,
And I just thought that was fucking crazy. I was like, oh God, that's wild. I hadn't even thought about that.
yeah. Well, I mean, how else? Like, they don't just get rid of the room. Just, oh, well, this room's
Yeah, and
closed
they
off.
just board up the door.
They build over the door, which is funny because like some places actually do that. They're like, there was never a room there. And fucking, you just see.
What
a
are you talking
window.
about?
Those are the haunted places. Let's. I think we've been talking. Me and Cole have been talking about this, but if we ever get popular, we'll do not a spin-off of. I guess it would be of the podcast, and it would be called Go Get Us Go, and it would just be me and Colby going to just interesting little places and doing like basically a vlog of just us walking around and checking it out and what our thoughts are.
Yeah.
I think that
Right,
would be
like-
great.
That sounds like a lot of fun to me.
I think if we did the vlog, the podcast would probably get more traction.
I mean, all content can feed back into itself, and like I'm not saying that from a position of having done it before,
Yeah.
but having seen people do it before.
Exactly. If someone's doing one thing and they get real popular, well, then of course they're gonna be like, well, if you like that, check out my second whatever, where I give like my raw thoughts on whatever, and it's more laid back, or you know, vice versa. Or if you like hearing me talk, then you're gonna love my podcast, because a lot of the YouTubers I watch, some of them have a podcast, and which I never watch, not because I hate them, but because like when my podcast choice that I listen to is very like, I don't know, not finicky, but I'm picky on what I listen to. But other people find it easier to consume shows like that just regularly. But I think if we got, like, say if like you kicked off on Twitch, and you'll never do it because you don't advertise our show on there. But say you did, then
No, if I popped off on Twitch, if I actually had like a bunch of subs, yeah, I would start talking about our podcast.
same. But yeah, it's easy to get. It's not easy, but like. If you got popular on one form of media, like, because currently we're like on Spotify and now on YouTube and stuff, it would be easier to advertise like your less known stuff. And then when people find it, they're like, oh, I didn't know he was doing that. Well, of course I gotta listen to all like 90 episodes in a row.
Yeah.
So I think that would be fun. I just want to, I want to hang out with you and just go and do like, I don't know, random shit.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah. I mean, same. It is awful hard to do that with a fucking with a baby, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one day out of the week wouldn't kill us.
Well, my wife would have something to say about that. The
Look,
thing
just-
is, like,
just bring the baby.
it's just bring the baby. It's interesting, actually. This coming up in the middle of this month, I believe, my wife is going on a retreat for work, and I get to take care of the baby during that time.
Hell yeah.
And I'll be solo taking care of the baby. But the nice thing is, it's during the week,
Yeah.
which means that my responsibility is pick him up from daycare, feed him, put him to bed,
Uh-huh.
and then the next day, wake him up and take him to daycare. And that's basically it.
Well, you see, when he's at daycare, we just go and fuck off. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah? I mean, that's fair enough.
Look, I get a week off every month. We could easily make this happen. we could, like, do it for, like, say, 2 or 3 days. And 3 days is pushing it, but, like, 2 or 3 days. Just, like, go visit you, and then we go fuck around in Austin. And then I leave, and then we make that into a small vlog where we can stretch out for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the offer's there. The offer's there.
I mean, it's not bad.
Of course,
That does sound like fun.
You just have to push your actual like job to working at night. But I mean, hey, you could literally do your job whenever, so it doesn't matter.
That is true. I do have meetings that I have to go to though. That's like the one thing is so I've talked about like going to Japan for a week, but I did have to work while I was there, and one of the things is just that like we had to be okay with having very little overlap.
Yeah.
So here in here in America at this time, it's pretty easy for like us to have overlapping working hours and like, oh, I'm working on this ticket. I need to ask a question. I can ask this guy. Great. But while I was in Japan, I had jet lag and I was waking up at sunrise every day.
Yeah.
So I'm up at like 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you do. And yeah, that was just enough time. 5 a.m. is 3 p.m. here. So I would wake up, I would get on my laptop, I would be online for a couple of hours and like ask some questions, get some guidance, like, hey, I had this problem yesterday, or hey, I've got these questions for this thing I'm doing today. How does this look? And then by the time it's 8 a.m., I breakfast, coffee, I'm ready to go. All of my coworkers are gone, which is fucking awesome.
Hell
that meant that no one was talking to me.
That's what I like in the meetings. I hate talking. I only like listening.
Well, that and like, the websites that I used to distract myself with, mainly YouTube and Reddit.
Yeah.
They only really update a lot in US times.
Yeah.
So like I wouldn't get any new YouTube videos to watch after like, whatever, like 2 p.m. in Japan. There's just like, effectively, it's like you've reached the end of the internet. You've consumed all the things that can be consumed on Reddit and YouTube. So every time I would open them up and be like, oh, let me find a YouTube video to put on, I couldn't find anything because there wasn't anything new. And every time I went to Reddit, it was the same news post on the top page. I'm like, well, Jesus. Well, I guess I'll just have to go work more. So it turned out to be like one of the most productive times that I ever had at that company, just because no one was bothering me and the internet wasn't good.
Dude, speaking of, like, I hate I hate being at a work meeting, and like recently I've had about like 2 or 3 meetings at work because I got a new supervisor. And we're all talking, and they're like, some people are like bringing up points. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good point, whatever. And I was, same. But then they'd look at me and be like, you have any feedback? I'm like, no. I'm like, everything's fine. I feel like they're like, oh, like, they're like, this fucking guy never has any fucking feedback. I'm like, well, you already went over all my points. I'm like, yeah. I have nothing to contribute.
Oh, God. So I'm a senior engineer at my job, and that means that like I'm supposed to have those thoughts. Like I'm supposed to, when someone comes in and it's like, hey, I'm gonna do this work, does that sound good? The answer is not supposed to be, yeah, sounds good. The answer is supposed to be like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Let me get some clarification. What about this thing? And then that makes them go, oh no, I did think about that, and yeah, like I'm taking care of it. And you go, okay, cool. But then everyone else is like, oh, he was really thinking about it. Yeah, this guy's a senior engineer.
That's some good points. Oh man, no wonder he's in charge.
Yeah, dang. In fact, like that happened at work last week, basically. Or no, it was yesterday actually. My manager and I had a meeting, and he was like, "Hey, I'm going to be really busy. Can you like read over these 2 proposals and put your thoughts down on them?" And I was like, I mean, yeah, I can do that. And he's like, yeah, in order to like, get you promoted to the next level, like stuff like that, it's going to really help. And I was like, okay, cool. And so like I looked at this document and was like, I mean, this sounds fine. Like if we did it like this, it would be fine. But yeah. I can't just say that. So I've got to go in and be like,
I got to think.
Well, this doesn't sound right. Have you thought about doing it this way?
I got to think of a reason why this is wrong.
Or why this is really good. good in a way they haven't thought of.
Yeah. Dude, this is what I'll do. I'll think of a reason that's bad, a bad way to do it, and I'll be like, well, I'm glad you did it this way, because if you did it this way, it'd suck and you'd be fired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's actually exactly what I did on one of the things. I was like, yeah, an alternative proposal is you could do it this way. But the thing that I like about the way that you've proposed this is that, it's not this other way that you were thinking about doing it. And that way's bad. This way's good.
You basically said nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I basically said, hey, you know those two ideas that you came up with? And you said, we should do this one? I said, yes, I agree. We should do that one because the other one's a bad idea. And they're like, yep, it sure is. And I'm like,
so
great.
you get a gold star. Here you go.
Glad I contributed.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, it's especially, I had to learn through a number of companies how to, like, give quote unquote insightful feedback, but while I wasn't paying attention, because my ADHD had gotten to the point where, I mean, even right now, like, while we're recording this podcast, I have YouTube open and I'm just scrolling and looking at thumbnails while I'm talking to you, because if I was to just look at the bars on my screen, I would go insane. So
dude,
I have something to look at, but
very opposite
at work. Oh, yeah, really?
Dude, I had YouTube open a little while ago to watch the She-Hulk trailer just to refresh my memory while we were doing the podcast, and that's all I could focus on. Like, you were talking, and I literally blanked out for a minute just to watch the trailer, and then I had to stop it because I was like, I'm not saying anything. So,
oh, God.
Because I have to have the screen blank. I'm literally just looking at the bars. I'm looking at the bars because if I focus on anything else, I won't contribute.
It's over.
It's
all over.
I have to sit here and stare at the wall.
For me at work, they'll especially, one of the things we have to do at work is, like, we have a task that we're supposed to do, right? So we say, like, okay, we're going to do, X and Y and Z. And then we have to estimate how long it's going to take and how much effort it's going to take to do it. And so, we have to say, I here's the size that I'm giving it to it. And luckily we do that via a piece of software. So, like, if I put some number in the middle, I'm usually okay and no one asks me any questions. But if this task ends up being I usually estimate a little higher. So if everybody's like, oh yeah, that's going to take 1 day, and I end up saying 3, the difference is not that high, but it's high enough that they're like, why did you say 3? And I now have some go-tos. So before I zone out, I get the big picture on what this ticket is. And then if I zone out and I estimate and I panic because it doesn't line up with other people, there's two main excuses that come to mind. One is, well, testing this is going to be hard. Because testing it is always hard. That's the thing. Testing anything is hard.
Yeah.
So
work is hard.
Just saying, testing it's going to be hard. And then they go, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I concur.
And the other thing is, this requires us to talk to a bunch of different people. And especially now, everybody's really busy with their projects. So you may really have to run some people down. I just think it's probably going to take some time to coordinate stuff. And that's literally always true. So I just say that and they go, yeah, all right, let's make it a 2 then.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Just I can't. I literally can't. I'm so unfocused. I just fucking can't. I have to fight myself to do stuff. Like today, I had 8 hours to do 4 tasks, and I had to crack it up into 2-hour intervals. I had to wash my clothes today, and I knew I did. And I was sitting watching TV. I'm like, well, I'm already halfway through this episode, so I guess I'll let it finish. And then I let it finish, and I sit there with the thing paused, looking at this pile of dirty clothes, and I'm like, I gotta get up and I gotta take that to the washer. Okay, here I go. now. And then, and then like I get up and I do it, and then I come back and sit down. I'm like, okay, I've got a sweep right here in front of me. I should have grabbed the broom on my way back to the room, but I didn't. So now I have to get back up and go over there and get it and the bala and come back. I'm like, okay. Well, I've started this episode, so I guess after. And then the episode will finish and I start some of the episode. I don't know. I miss the pause and I forget what I have to do. And I'm like, okay, wait, I got to pause. But when they're not talking, then I pause. And then I'm like, okay, go. And it's just, that's how my brain works. Like, I'm like, I have to, nothing has to be happening around me for me to focus, because like, if I'm seeing something, I'm zoning out. And then like, I know I have to do something, but in my brain, I'm like, oh, but just don't do it. You have time. And
yeah, it's fine.
You've got all the time in the world up until 5 o'clock, and then you got to stop. And I'm like,
well, the thing is, like,
I can't.
ADHD will do that to you. Treating ADHD will also do that to you sometimes. Because like, if I'm on Adderall and I'm like working on something, twice now I've been like, oh, I leave at 5:30 to go pick up my son.
Yeah.
From daycare. So like twice now I've been like working on something and it gets to be, like 5:28 and I'm like, no. Like if I could keep working on this. If I keep working on this, I can get it done. I can get it done. For sure I can get it done. And then it's like 5:35 and I'm like, no, I'm so close. If I just like
if I stop.
Run this one more time, then like, or if I do this thing, then it's then I can get it done. If I do this other thing, I can get this done. And then like,
or if I stop now,
I look and it's like 5:45 and I'm like, okay, shit, I have to go now. Like I've ruined it. I'm gonna be late.
It's
They're
ruined.
gonna hate me.
Fucking, you're like, oh, I can't stop now. If I lose this momentum, I won't get it back. That's how it
exactly what it's like. Yeah.
That happens to me sometimes, but only when I'm like actively doing something. I can't be thinking about doing something. I have to be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the day in the life of Fee. I'm like, I know I have to do these things. I know I want to do these things, but I'm not gonna. And I don't really have a good enough answer to give you of why I'm not. I'm just not. Like,
yeah, I mean, and listen, like, when we were growing up, there were also times like that where, like, me and Mike would be like, hey, we're going to come over to your house at, like, 3. And then fucking, we would show up at your house at 3 and you're like, oh, dude, yeah, I'll be right out. And then fucking 15, 20 minutes later, you finally come and we're like, what happened? Oh, dude, I had to get dressed. And then I had to go and my mom gave me a taco that I had to eat.
Look, I just put stuff off. Okay. I knew y'all were coming and I'm like, okay, they're coming. All right. I got to get ready. But I'm playing a game or I'm watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
And then like my parents have asked me to do things. They're like, if you want to go, you got to do these things. I'm like, I got time. Just, I'm like, I could, it's okay. They'll get here and I'll have enough time to do it right before I leave. And it just never ends. And y'all always made fun of me for it. but y'all always waited in front of the house. I mean,
that is true.
And my dad would come and accost y'all.
Yeah, that is also true.
He
that was like always the worst part is like if we're just hanging out, like waiting for you to come out, and then your dad comes by, he's like, "Hey!" Oh shit.
he would
roll down the window. Hey, what's up? And then every time he's like, "Mike, get out here, let's fight." And Mike's like, "No, I'm scared. I'm scared of you."
My dad would stall for me. Not because I asked him, but that's because that's the type of guy he is. He would always ask Mike to fight him, even though Mike is a solid foot taller than my dad. And he would always, I don't know why, but he would call out Kobe's name. He'd be like, Kobe, Toby. And
because he's drunk and doesn't know what my name is. Actually, he's like, he said it and then he goes, "That's not right. Oh, it must be Toby."
it was more like of an inside joke because he would when I first hung out with you, he thought your name was Toby for a little while until we corrected him. So without y'all knowing the inside joke, he would tell y'all the joke. And you know that the family would have a laugh about it, and then y'all would be confused.
God.
Oh shit. It is the end of the show.
It is.
And we didn't even talk about baby formula.
Oh no, there's a baby formula shortage, and it sucks. It fucking sucks, dude.
And that's what it boils down to.
Basically.
I have no idea. I don't have a baby, and I don't know if there's a shortage. So I guess that was not my
I don't
radar.
have a baby, and I don't know any formulas. So
I mean, I do know a formula, but I mean it's not a baby formula.
See, I thought.
I know the quadratic formula.
Do you now? That surprises me, actually.
So, yeah, we gotta end the show. I know of the quadratic formula. I don't know. I don't know it personally. Colby?
Hey.
Do you know the quadratic?
I'm just so disappointed. I'm just so disappointed, V. I was really believing you there for a second. You know what I mean?
I couldn't lie. I couldn't lie. I've heard of it, but I've never used it.
I'm pretty sure you have used it, but that's fine. It doesn't really matter.
I'm trying to think of another formula to even out this.
You could do Pythagoras theorem. That's kind of a formula.
I know of it. I don't know how to do it.
Oh no! Oh, Fee, you don't even know Pythagoras. Oh no!
Listen. I don't know if you remember that calculus class where where it was across from the library where you're in the calculator and it was advanced math. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They put me in that class. They put me in that class for 2 weeks before I think they realized they made a mistake. Because I kept failing. I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, math is not my fucking strong suit. I failed.
You're like, hey, I thought about it. I don't know.
They would call on me and I'd be like, I don't know. And then he'd be like, okay, next person. I'm like, okay, God. I failed. I failed, I think it was math 2 twice, or once, and I had to take it again. So, like, I'm not good at math.
Wow.
I'm not good at math.
I contrast that to me. I had dinner at that math teacher's house after the final with like a couple of other kids that like did well enough to get college credit in the class. Like that's like that's the exact opposite for me. He was like, "Come to my house. We'll have kebabs for dinner." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
That tells you the kind of people that fucking you're listening to, because I was so like. I was not good in anything. All I thought about 24/7 was playing games and hanging out. I never thought about school.
Hell yeah.
Oh, shit. And like, Kobe was in it to win it. Fucking not me, though. And look at me now, Mom!
Yeah, look at me now with my great podcast.
Yeah, with my high school degree and my 10 listeners. Ha-ha! Oh God! Oh, it is time though, so we're gonna call it right there. You can find us on Spotify and iTunes, any podcatcher you want.
Name a platform, and we're there.
We're
all right,
we're there.
You're listening to us on one of those platforms right now, unless you're listening to us on YouTube.
Whoa,
which we are also on.
We are on YouTube, baby. So subscribe and like and follow and 5-star and fucking and on TikTok too. Now we're on TikTok.
That's right, baby. Get on there. Get tick us. Tick.
If you
talk us.
If you tick us, we will talk you.
Yeah, correct. There you go. That's the terminology that I'm looking for.
Make a funny animation with the clips that we're putting on there, and we'll laugh and acknowledge them. So you can find us on basically everything.
Yep.
What's it called? Remember, shit, Colby, go. I'm not good at this outro.
Well, you do it every time.
I know. Get your badly CGI'd superhero, and
just the one.
Just the
Collect
one.
The one.
Get your badly CGI'd superhero, and put her in a courtroom with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and go get him.
Go get him.
Ah! I wouldn't need a lawyer. I'm always not guilty.
I've never done anything wrong. You can't do anything wrong when you write all the laws.
Last time someone accused me of doing something, they never heard from them again.
In fact, they never existed. When did that happen? Who did that? Who knows?
It didn't happen because it never happened. I wrote the laws. I was there with the Constitution.
I was there when the universe was created too.
I was there.
I wrote the laws of physics.
I stabbed Jesus.
I had my favorite spear. I got it real dirty that day.
I was very upset. Go get him. Bye.